Listen to me. I need you to catch this. Some of you in this room right now, some of you watching this video, you've been running from yourself. You can't sit in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone, without turning on the TV, without needing somebody else's voice in your ear. Because you're terrified of your own. You think being alone means something's wrong with you. You think it's punishment. But I came to tell you today, being alone is not the same as being lonely. See, lonely is when you don't value yourself enough to enjoy your own company. Alone is power. Alone is when you take back control of your life. Alone is when you stop waiting for somebody else to validate you, to clap for you, to tell you who you are. Alone is when you finally get honest about what you want, about what's broken, about what needs to grow. Don't miss this, because if you can't embrace solitude, you'll never step into greatness. Every dream, every vision, every breakthrough that ever changed the world was born in silence, not in a crowd. And if you walk out on this message, if you turn it off halfway, you're walking out on the very key that might unlock your next level. So I'm asking you, no, I'm challenging you, lean in. Listen with everything you've got. Don't let your fear of being alone keep you from hearing the truth that could set you free. Because if you give me your attention, if you stay with me from start to finish, I promise you, by the end of this, you'll never look at solitude the same way again. You've been taught your whole life that being alone is a bad thing. That if you're not surrounded by people, something must be wrong. Society has conditioned you to think that if you're sitting by yourself, eating by yourself, walking by yourself, you're somehow less. And I need you to understand that's a lie. Being alone is not a curse. It's not punishment. It's not rejection. It's an opportunity. It's a space that was created for you to hear your own thoughts, to connect with your own soul, to breathe without the noise of everybody else telling you what to do, who to be, and how to think. See, some of you can't go 10 minutes without calling somebody, texting somebody, scrolling through somebody else's life because you don't know how to be comfortable with your own. And the crazy thing is, when you finally slow down and sit still, you start realizing just how much of your identity has been shaped by other people's opinions. You dress the way you dress because of somebody else. You talk the way you talk because of somebody else. You make decisions not because they're right for you, but because you're afraid of what people are going to say if you don't. You've been so caught up in trying not to be alone that you've lost yourself in the process. But when you're truly alone, when you step back from the noise, you find clarity. And I need you to understand this. Clarity doesn't come in crowds. Crowds bring confusion, distractions, mixed signals. Clarity comes when you're sitting in silence with yourself, wrestling with the truth about where you are, who you are, and where you're headed. Let me tell you something. There is a difference between being lonely and being alone. Lonely is an emptiness. Lonely is you craving somebody else's presence to fill the gap that you haven't filled for yourself. Lonely is you depending on another human being to make you feel valuable. Alone. Alone is strength. Alone is freedom. Alone is the moment when you finally realize, I don't need the crowd to confirm who I am. Alone is when you walk into your destiny without waiting for somebody to sign it. And here's the problem. Some of you keep sabotaging your growth because you're addicted to noise. You're addicted to being validated. You're addicted to being surrounded, even if it's by the wrong people. You would rather sit in a toxic circle than sit with yourself in peace. And I'm telling you right now, you can't elevate like that. You can't heal like that. You can't hear your calling like that. Think about it. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history didn't come from people surrounded by 100 voices. They came from people who weren't afraid to get alone. The vision came in solitude. The strategy came in solitude. The strength to keep going came in solitude. Some of the greatest athletes, leaders, innovators, they learned to embrace being alone because that's when they heard what no one else could hear. That's when they saw what no one else could see. You keep saying you want to grow, but you won't separate yourself from the noise long enough to do it. You keep saying you want to heal, but you won't sit still in the silence that forces you to face the wounds. You keep saying you want purpose, but purpose doesn't show up when you're busy entertaining distractions. Purpose shows up when you get quiet enough to hear that whisper inside of you that says, this is who you were created to be. Now let me make it practical. When you're alone, stop thinking it's the end of the world. Start asking, what can I do at this time? What can I learn about myself? What needs to change in me? That's not loneliness. That's growth. You got to reprogram how you see it. If you look at solitude as rejection, you'll run from it. If you look at solitude as a gift, you'll embrace it. But here's the real truth. You can't run from being alone. There are going to be seasons in your life where people walk away. There are going to be moments where a phone doesn't ring. There are going to be days where nobody checks on you, nobody celebrates you, nobody notices you. And if you're not prepared for those moments, if you haven't built the muscle of being okay with yourself, you'll fall apart. You'll cling to anybody and anything just to avoid being alone. And most of the time, you'll end up with the wrong people in your life because you chose company over peace. But when you embrace being alone, when you flip that switch, you discover something powerful. You are enough. You realize you don't need a crowd to feel worthy. You don't need constant attention to feel seen. You don't need 10 voices telling you you're valuable to actually be valuable. You discover that you can stand by yourself and still stand tall. You can walk by yourself and still walk in purpose. You can sit by yourself and still be in good company, because the company you're keeping is the best version of you. So stop running from yourself. Stop calling it loneliness when really it's solitude. Stop telling yourself it's weakness when really it's strength. Redefine and change the meaning. Because once you do, being alone will no longer scare you. It will empower you. It will no longer drain you. It will recharge you. It will no longer feel like a burden. It will feel like the blessing it was always meant to be. And if you don't hear anything else I say today, hear this. Being alone is not the enemy. It's the training ground for everything you've been praying for. When you finally learn how to be alone, when you stop running from that quiet space, something powerful happens. You start seeing yourself for who you really are. Solitude is like a mirror. And I know some of you don't want to look in it, because the truth is mirrors don't lie. You can dress yourself up. You can hide behind the crowd. You can put on a mask when you're around people. But when you're alone, the mask comes off. Solitude exposes what you've been trying to cover. It brings to the surface the things you'd rather keep buried. And that's exactly why most people avoid it. Because it forces you to confront yourself. But here's the thing. Confrontation isn't always bad. You can't grow if you don't face what's holding you back. You can't heal if you don't admit where you're broken. You can't improve if you don't acknowledge the areas where you're weak. Solitude gives you that space. It creates the room you need to have an honest conversation with yourself. And I promise you, that's one of the most important conversations you'll ever have in your life. Think about it. When was the last time you sat still long enough to ask yourself, am I really living the life I want to live? Or am I living the life other people expect from me? When was the last time you evaluated your habits, your routines, your attitude, your decisions without the noise of social media, without the pressure of your friends, without the weight of everybody else's expectations? Most people don't do it. Most people keep moving, keep distracting themselves because they're afraid of what they might hear if they stop. But you can't afford to keep running. At some point, you've got to look in the mirror. And let me tell you something. It's not always going to feel good. Sometimes solitude will reveal things about you that hurt. You might see laziness staring back at you. You might see fear staring back at you. You might see insecurity, pride, bad habits, things you've ignored for years. It's not easy to face. But listen to me, it's necessary. Because when you see it, you can change it. When you face it, you can fight it. When you admit it, you can grow past it. But if you never get quiet enough to look at yourself, you'll keep pretending, you'll keep making excuses, you'll keep blaming everybody else, and you'll never get to the version of yourself you were created to be. That's why solitude is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the gym where your character gets trained. It's the classroom where your vision gets written. It's the workshop where your discipline gets sharpened. Alone time gives you the chance to evaluate, to make adjustments, to strip away what's not working and build what is. And some of you keep saying you want success, you want breakthrough, you want change, but you're allergic to solitude. And I'm telling you, if you don't learn how to sit with yourself, you'll never find what's inside of you. Because here's the truth. When you're always around people, it's easy to hide. It's easy to blend in. It's easy to ride the wave of someone else's energy. But when you're by yourself, there's no one to lean on. There's no one to distract you. It's just you. Your choices, your habits, your discipline, your thoughts. And that's when you find out who you really are. That's when you discover your strengths. That's when you realize what you're truly capable of. Let me give you an example. You know why so many people crumble when life gets tough? Because they've never practiced being alone with their pain. They've never practiced processing disappointment by themselves. They always ran to people for comfort, ran to noise for distraction, ran to temporary fixes instead of sitting with the reality, learning from it and growing through it. But when you've been through solitude, when you've looked yourself in the eye and dealt with your own demons, you come out stronger. You come out unshakable. Because now you know you don't have to run, you don't have to hide. You can face it and still move forward. And let's be real, this world is noisy. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got advice. Everybody wants to tell you what you should do, how you should live, what's best for you. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life following the voices of other people and never once hear your own. But solitude shuts the noise down. Solitude clears the stage so you can finally hear the one voice that matters most, yours. That voice that says, I'm stronger than I thought. That voice that says, this is the path I need to take. That voice that says, it's time to let go of that relationship, that habit, that excuse. That voice that says, I was built for more. You won't hear it in the crowd. You won't hear it in the chaos. You won't hear it when you're constantly distracted. You only hear it when you get still enough Quiet enough, brave enough to sit in solitude and listen. And don't get it twisted. It's not just about hearing the negative. Solitude reveals the best in you too. It shows you your resilience. It shows you your creativity. It shows you dreams you didn't even know were inside you. It pulls out your vision. It awakens your passion. It reminds you of your purpose. Because when the noise fades, when the world gets quiet, when it's just you in that mirror, you start to remember who you really are. So stop running from solitude. Stop calling it boring. Stop calling it punishment. Stop calling it loneliness. It's none of those things. It's the mirror that shows you the truth. And the truth will always set you free. The question is, are you brave enough to look? Because at the end of the day, solitude won't break you. It'll build you. One of the biggest reasons people are afraid of being alone is because they're addicted to validation. They built their entire identity around other people clapping for them, approving of them, noticing them. And I need you to catch this. When your worth is built on somebody else's applause, you will always be a prisoner. Because the moment they stop clapping, the moment they stop noticing you, the moment they stop telling you you're valuable, you fall apart. You start questioning yourself. You start doubting yourself. You start shrinking back into fear. And that's no way to live. At some point, you've got to stop needing somebody else to tell you you're enough. At some point, you've got to stop craving likes and comments and compliments just to feel worthy. At some point, you've got to build a strength inside of you that says, even if nobody sees me, I see me. Even if nobody applauds me, I applaud me. Even if nobody believes in me, I still believe in me. That's what solitude teaches you. It teaches you to clap for yourself. See, it's easy to feel good about yourself when the world is cheering. It's easy to keep going when you've got people shouting your name, encouraging you, telling you how amazing you are. But what happens when the noise stops? What happens when the stands are empty? What happens when you look around and there's nobody there to celebrate you? That's the moment that separates the strong from the weak. Because if you've only been fueled by outside validation, you won't last. But if you've been building inner strength in solitude, if you've been learning to celebrate yourself, if you've been practicing resilience without an audience, then when the crowd disappears, you don't crumble. You keep moving. You've got to understand, real confidence doesn't come from people. It comes from within. And you can only build that kind of confidence when you stop chasing validation and start embracing solitude. Because when you're alone, there's no one to hype you up, no one to flatter you, no one to pat you on the back. It's just you. And in that space, you have to decide, am I going to wait for somebody else to confirm my worth? Or am I going to declare it for myself? Let me be real. Some of you are so dependent on people that you don't even know who you are without them. You measure your progress by how many people notice it. You measure your beauty by how many people compliment it. You measure your talent by how many people praise it. But what if nobody says a word? What if nobody acknowledges it? Does that mean it's not real? No. It means you've been living for the wrong audience. The real audience is you. The real standard is you. When you're in solitude, you're forced to stop looking outward and start looking inward. You're forced to face the fact that maybe you've been living for the applause instead of living for your purpose. You're forced to realize that maybe you've been performing for people instead of being authentic with yourself. And that's the shift you need. Because if you keep living for validation, you'll live a small life. You'll always be controlled by other people's opinions. But if you learn to build inner strength, if you learn to validate yourself, if you learn to clap for yourself, then you become unstoppable. Think about it. Some of the greatest people who've ever walked this planet weren't celebrated when they were starting out. They weren't applauded when they were building. Nobody saw them. Nobody believed in them. Nobody cared. But they believed in themselves. They put in the work in solitude. They clapped for themselves when nobody else did. And that's why they made it. Because they didn't need the world to recognize them before they started moving. They recognized themselves. And I need you to get this. You can't wait for other people to clap before you start. You can't wait for support before you take action. You can't wait for validation before you believe in yourself. If you do, you'll be waiting forever. You've got to clap for yourself in the dark when nobody's watching. You've got to celebrate the small wins in silence when nobody's around. You've got to push yourself when nobody's checking on you. That's how you build inner strength. That's how you become resilient. You keep saying you want freedom, but how can you be free if your worth depends on other people? You keep saying you want peace, but how can you have peace if one person's opinion can shatter you? You keep saying you want confidence, but how can you have confidence if it only exists when somebody else gives it to you? That's not freedom, that's slavery. And the only way to break those chains is to stop living for validation and start building from the inside out. And I know it's not easy. I know it feels good to be noticed. I know it feels good to be appreciated. I'm not saying those things don't matter. What I'm saying is they can't be the foundation. Because if the foundation of your worth is people, then your worth is unstable. But if the foundation of your worth is built in solitude, if it's built on your own self-respect, your own self-love, your own inner strength, then it doesn't matter who comes or who goes, who claps or who criticizes. You're unshakable. That's the power of solitude. It forces you to build strength where nobody can see it. It forces you to grow roots deep in the soil of your own character so that when the storms come, you don't get blown away. It forces you to stop depending on the outside world for confirmation and start depending on yourself. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't scramble to find someone to tell you you're okay. Sit in it. Embrace it. Use it. Ask yourself, how can I grow stronger in this moment? How can I build confidence right here, right now, without anybody else's help? Because that's where true power is born. And when you learn how to do that, when you learn how to stand on your own 2 feet without needing an audience, that's when you're truly free. That's when you can walk into any room, any situation, any season, and know that no matter what happens, no matter who claps or who criticizes, you're enough. Because real strength isn't built on applause. It's built in the silence of solitude. The mistake too many people make is they see being alone as wasted time. They think isolation means they're falling behind, that they're missing out, that they're stuck while everyone else is moving forward. But let me tell you the truth. Your alone time is not wasted time. It's training time. It's preparation. It's the space where you build in silence so that when your moment comes, you're ready. I don't care how gifted you are, how much talent you've got, how big your dreams are. If you don't use your solitude to prepare, you'll never be ready when opportunity shows up. And let me tell you something about opportunity. It doesn't wait. It doesn't give you a warning. It doesn't knock on your door and say, hey, I'll be back in 6 months when you're more disciplined, when you're more focused, when you're more ready. No, it shows up unannounced. And if you're not prepared, you miss it. That's why solitude is so powerful. It's the place where you sharpen your tools, where you build your foundation, where you put in the work nobody sees, so that when the world finally looks at you, you're not scrambling to figure it out. You're already prepared. Think about it. Every champion, every great leader, every innovator, they didn't just show up one day and succeed. They spent years behind the scenes preparing, hours upon hours when nobody was watching. Early mornings, late nights, long days where nobody clapped, nobody cheered, nobody noticed. That's what solitude gives you. It gives you the chance to grind in silence, to prepare in private, so that when you step into the spotlight, you don't just show up, you show out. But the problem is, some of you waste your solitude. Instead of using it as preparation, you use it as pity. Instead of building, you're complaining. Instead of sharpening your skills, you're scrolling, you're watching, you're comparing yourself to everybody else. You're looking at what they've got, what they're doing, and you're missing the gift of your own season of isolation. And the truth is, if you keep wasting your solitude, you'll keep missing your destiny. Because this season isn't here to punish you. It's here to prepare you. Let me give you an example. You look at the seed in the ground, and from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks buried, forgot, hidden. But what's really happening? It's taking root. It's building a foundation. It's preparing for the moment it's going to break through the soil. And when it finally does, it doesn't stay small. It grows into something bigger than what it started as. That's you. Your solitude is your seed time. It's when you're hidden, when nobody sees you, when nobody celebrates you. And you've got two choices. You can waste it by complaining that nobody notices, or you can use it to grow roots so deep that when your breakthrough comes, nothing can shake you. You keep asking for the spotlight, but you're not ready for it. You keep asking for success, but you don't have the discipline for it. You keep asking for opportunities, but you haven't built the character to handle them. And that's why you're in solitude. That's why you're in this season. Because solitude is the gym where you train for the weight you're about to carry. Solitude is the classroom where you study for the test that's coming. Solitude is the workshop where you're building the tools you're going to need for the job. If you skip this season, you'll fail in the next. But if you embrace it, if you prepare, if you put in the work now, then when opportunity knocks, you won't just open the door. You'll be ready to walk through it and own it. And hear me on this. Preparation isn't glamorous. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's grinding when nobody's looking. It's doing the same small things over and over until they become second nature. It's practicing when you don't feel like it. It's showing up for yourself even when nobody else is there. That's preparation. And most people don't want to do it. They want the results without the grind. They want the success without the solitude. But that's not how it works. If you want the crown, you've got to train in the shadows. And don't get it twisted. Preparation in solitude isn't just about skills. It's about your mind. It's about your discipline. It's about your patience, your resilience, your ability to stay focused when distractions come. Because when the pressure hits, when the spotlight is on you, it's not your talent that will sustain you. It's your preparation. It's the work you did when nobody saw. It's the nights you stayed up grinding, the mornings you pushed yourself, the habits you built in the quiet. That's what will carry you. So stop wasting your alone time. Stop wishing it away. Stop telling yourself it means you're behind. No, it means you're being built. It means you're being trained. It means you're being sharpened. Use it. Pick up the book. Practice on your mind. Work on your mind. Heal your wounds. Build your discipline. Strengthen your faith. Whatever it is you've been called to do, this is the season to prepare for it. Because the stage is coming. Opportunity is coming. The door is coming. And when it does, you don't want to be caught unprepared. Listen, some of you are in the quiet season right now, and you're frustrated because it feels like nothing is happening. But everything is happening. You're being prepared. You're being positioned. You're being developed. And if you can embrace it instead of running from it, if you can put in the work instead of wasting the time, then when your season shifts, you'll be unstoppable. Because solitude isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of greatness.